gentlemen, we're now tuning into the Paris. Jazzy Fisher Productions. Sean She like me, I kinda dig it, so I did my thing for her. She joining with me, now we getting groovy, hotter than jacuzzi. So shawty, won't you slow it down? See the mother fellas like me, they try to do it like me, it ain't the same. Front to back, shawty, side to side, lean with it with a soldier now. Cause it's so flat, girl. You should come to my crib, yeah. I go flip on you, you look good, I'm taking my you should be my girl. You should be my girl. You should be my girl. And we getting to it. If that's a business, we should keep on doing it. Who you so gone with it? You better go with it. The way you break it down. I got a chance for you. All on my phone for you. Waking up 3 o'clock in the morning for you. I never sweat you, baby. But if you let me, baby, know that I'ma put it down. Cause it's all good, girl. You should come to my crib. Oh, no. I go flip, yeah, baby. You look good, chicken, but you should be my girl. You should be my
Hey, 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 it's your girl Nay coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nay, the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's talk about it. Hey, y'all, it's your girl Nay. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great day thus far. Welcome back for another conversation on As Told by Nay. I got Miss Elena Nicholas here to have this conversation with me. And before we get started, we're going to go ahead and toast for the evening. What we toast to, Nay? So here we are. It's June 4th. And 2020 has definitely been taking us for a run. It's been giving me a run for my money. I don't know about you. I don't know about y'all, but 2020 been showing out a little bit and not in the best way. So I want to take time right now to go ahead and manifest a change. I want to put it in the atmosphere. And we are going to toast to month 6. We're here, but 2020 is still going to be a great year. It's going to turn around, y'all. We got 6 more months after this, and I don't want none of that negative energy right now.
No, that's good. That was good energy.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna turn around. So we're toasting to 2020 still being an amazing year.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'm toasting to that.
2020 will still be an amazing year. Because Malibu gonna call me. They gonna give me some endorsements. And hopefully my husband Sammy called me.
What? Sammy? Speaking of Sammy, aren't we supposed to be doing an interview?
Listen,
with him?
I've been contacting
Sammy.
Skino. I done reached out to Sammy. I done reached out to DJ A1. Like, somebody, let me know what's up. The people want to hear. They want that interview, Sam.
I don't even
what's up, Sam?
I just want to.
Girl. We want that interview, Sam. Get at your girl. So, all right, let's keep it moving. Miss Nicholas, if you would be so kind as to go ahead and let my listeners know just a little bit about you. Let us know who you are before we start this conversation.
Okay, so as Nay said, my name is Elena Nicholas. Megan's my friend,
Woo-woo.
and I am a children's book author. I just wrote, well, didn't just write, but I just wrote my first adult book geared towards adults. And I own a business called No Strings Publishing, and I publish
Woo-hoo.
books for children and individuals that are looking to get started in their literary journey. So that's me.
And if you didn't know, No Strings is definitely who published Dreamer.
I did.
Still out there for you guys to go ahead and get and read and enjoy that story.
Barnes and Noble.
Link right there. Go ahead, purchase that book. Hit me up if you don't know how. I can send you the link directly. Whatever we need to do. Let's make it happen. All right. So to start the show off, we're going to go ahead and get into this segment that I like to call Excuse Me, Come Again. I'm going to ask you 4 random questions, and I need you to answer them honestly. And we might talk a little bit about it, but, for the most part, it's just kind of to break the ice, have a couple of laughs before we get into this conversation.
Uh-oh.
All right. So question number 1. If you were able to choose your husband again, would you?
Absolutely.
All right. She answered that quick.
Absolutely.
She answered that quick. Husband, I hope you watching. She answered that quick. So that question came about because, I'm a therapist, and I was having this conversation with one of my clients, and she told me no. And I thought that was kind of strange. She said if she could choose again, she probably would do different. Now, she knows that she can't, and she loves her husband, and they have this great, relationship. But she said if she could do it over, she probably would not choose him. Is it? Because in a marriage, you're supposed to be able to be like, I'm going to choose you over and over again forever. I know that's right. I know that's right. All right. Well, that's interesting. But Miss Nicholas is happy in her marriage. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So question number 2. Is there a such thing as too much conversation with your significant other?
I think for him it is.
Okay.
Because I think he think I talk to, like, he be about to sleep, and I be like, babe, especially with the current events, I'm like, babe, so I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm like, just let me say, that's why I like to talk,
I think that is dependent upon the person for sure, because I like to talk, but I'm a very busy person, and I have gotten that complaint that I don't talk enough. Like when I'm meeting someone new or like going into a new situation, and they're like, that question comes up, like, you be busy a lot. Mm-hmm. You don't talk. You want to talk, and I'll be like, I be having stuff to do. Like, I'm sorry, it's no plight to you, but I just be a little busy, So I guess it depends on the person. Right. I like busy guys because then we just be busy ignoring each other. It'd be all right, and we talk when we can. Right. So question number 3. If you had to decide between, and I know you're married now, but just kind of think about it outside of your husband.
Don't get me in trouble about it.
It's not gonna it's not gonna get you in trouble. But if you had to choose between someone who is filthy rich, but probably don't treat you and the kids very well, versus someone who ain't got no money, but is a really sweet and just great personality, like, which one are you choosing? Is the money more important, or is the way they make you feel? I guess that's really the question. Is the money more important, or the way they make you feel more important?
I'm going with old Whitney Gilbert answer.
Okay.
A man with charisma and take care of his kids, he ain't never broke.
Oh, so I like that. Okay. That's good. I always ask that question to my female friends because we kind of get wrapped up in, people in general get wrapped up in materialistic things, and sometimes you got to think about, like, people who have the most money aren't always the happiest. They aren't always good people. They kind of use that money as power, and it gets in your head a little bit. So if you had a situation where you got this rich husband, but you're not the best person, it's like, is it worth it? Or would you have taken somebody that ain't got it, but, is a good man at heart? So I like your answer.
I want a good man.
That's what's up. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think long and hard about that. No, I'm playing.
Now we all watched I Can Do Bad when he put.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that rings true.
That is true.
So,
all right. And so then question number 4, what's the one thing that sets you apart from other women? Because you know how people love to say, I'm different.
mm-hmm.
You ain't had nothing like me before. What does that mean for you? What sets you apart from everybody else?
I think I'm patient.
Your patience.
I think I like have the ability to like I'm good with being able to sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
for another person and let them be a better person.
Okay.
So I just, you know, a lot of people, they don't have time to wait or wait for somebody to get themselves together,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm real patient. So I think being patient and slow to anger has helped me through my marriage.
Okay, and that's what's up. And that is what's up. For me, somebody asked me that question today, and I was like, oh, I'm going to ask my guest that. And I had to sit and think about it because I feel like I'm pretty normal. I'm like real plain Jane. I'm like, what does set me apart? Because I feel like I could easily blend into any really, you know. But I think it would have to be my vibe. Like, it's nothing that you will ever find. You may find people that are kind of like me, but it's going to be always something missing. You can't quite put your finger on it, but it's like, that's not NATO.
Right.
And then, you know, just, you know,
all right.
It's my vibe. It's definitely my vibe. No other vibe. It's like Nate's vibe. So I thought that was, you know, something to make you think a little bit. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and get right into this letter. I was asking questions about, you know, your marriage and stuff because that's kind of what today's conversation is going to be about. If I had to give today's conversation a title, I would call it I Miss You. And we're going to go ahead and get into this letter. So, hey, Nay, I want to raise the topics of having a relationship within a marriage. My husband and I have been married for 3 years. We dated for 5 before getting married. We have 2 beautiful children out of the deal as well. As of lately, I have been finding myself lonely in my marriage. How does that happen, you ask? Well, it's simple. Once I became the wife, I lost my relationship. I tried to talk to my mother about this, seeing as how she's been married for 37 years to my father. Her response was, you guys do things differently these days. You got to ask one of your little friends, which I agree with because although I witnessed the love, I thought my parents' marriage was boring growing up. So, little friend, what do you think the problem is? How can I ask my husband for my boyfriend back? Is it okay that I see marriage in a different perspective these days, and I want to have a conversation about how to better it? Love you always, just a phone call away. So I thought that letter was actually really, really sweet. And I guess I kind of want to start the conversation off with asking you, romance in 2020, going into 2021, is it dead? Should the hopeless romantic kind of give it up?
No.
Okay.
It is not dead.
Okay.
I think we are coming out. Now, I can see where it was going, where people started to think we coming out of City Girl season. So everybody kind of wanted, everybody, you know, was going for that independent, strong female. I don't really need, you know, a relationship. And then people in relationships was feeling that way too. Like, you know, I'm a wife or I'm a girlfriend, but I'm a whole city girl on the weekends, type thing. So I don't think it's dead. I think people are coming back into that because I just think that human wise, like we're supposed to be with somebody else. The person that we're with is supposed to bring out the best in us. And romance, everybody will feel romance. So I don't think that's gonna ever die. I just think it wasn't trending.
Okay. So it's so funny that you bring up hot girl summer because I have never been a hot girl summer type woman. I love to travel and I love to have fun with my friends, but my friends was kind of joking with me the other day because I brought this conversation up to them and they was like, well, Nay, last summer, you know, you was kind of liking somebody while everybody else was having their hot girl summer. and how did that work out for you?
Right.
And I'm just like, well,
it was,
you know, I don't miss not having hot girl summer though, because for me it was just kind of like, yeah, I was liking somebody. I still like somebody, but yeah, I was liking somebody or whatever. So I wasn't, thotting and trotting through the summer, but that's not normally how I do anyway. And they joke about me being a hopeless romantic. And for me, I want to ask you, do you think that that's something you can actually like turn off and on? Because then the question posed, well, are you still going to be a hopeless romantic? Is that something that you're going to just stick with, or you done with it? And I joke and be like, no, I'm turning it off this year. I'm done with it. These people don't deserve me. But is this something you can really turn off?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think relationships and love are like any other season in life. You may go through a romantic season. I always tell people, me and my husband got 2 years on and 2 years off. We good for 2 years. Like, it'd be like, oh, we get money, we feel good. And then the next 2 years be like, rough patch. Say one more word. And I promise you that I'm going to the county court.
Okay.
So it's like, so love seasons. So you got seasons that you want to be all over them and loving them. And then you have seasons that you don't. I don't necessarily, it's not like a switch on and off, but it's just like love language. You understand what season you're in and you just kind of go with the flow of your relationship. And so going with the flow works.
Okay. Good deal. Okay. So then my next question to you, how long have you been married?
I think it's 7.
You think?
My husband say something else. He say, I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's 7 years. I think it's 7 years.
Okay.
But we've been together for 15, but I think we've been married for 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sticking with that one.
Been married for 7. All right. So for you, because this lady, okay, they've been married for 5 years. They have these 2 kids, and I know you have children or whatever. What is the big difference now than when you guys first got married? What would you say?
So I say when people get married, there's just like a cloud that screams complacency. Like it's like, and I'm not gonna say I don't do the same things that I did to keep him, and he don't do the same things that he did. But it's just this sense of like, okay, like you go to school. You busting your butt for 4 years to get your degree, and then you get out and you kind of like, well, I may apply for jobs today, but when you was in school, you was like, oh, when I get out, I'm gonna be going here, I'm gonna be doing this, and that just don't happen. And then so you get comfortable, and then something happens, and you like, oh, this is boring. Like, I'm what the letter said, and then so I'm lonely because nobody's dating each other, or everybody kind of just doing their own thing. Oh, we here now, and that's just it.
So then, and I love having this conversation with my married friends, because especially my age, in our generation, it just kind of seems that we, like the letter was saying, her mom said, we do things kind of differently than the marriages that we saw growing up, or that back in the day love. When you say, okay, some people get complacent, it allows for that lonely feeling to set in. Maybe you got these kids and y'all trying to make sure the kids good. What are some things that you could tell her in regards to getting back to what was? How do you spice it up? It's been 5 years. We have these 2 kids. You work, I work. We're trying to, still maintain our own separate selves, but also enjoy the marriage. But we kind of got to this complacent place. What can we do?
First thing to do would be to say that. A lot of people don't say that. They feel it. It shows.
Communication.
You washing the dishes with an attitude. You used to iron his clothes. Now you just kind of throwing them on the bed. So having a conversation. And I think in marriages, people think it's the end all, the word unhappy. People in marriage are afraid to say, hey, I'm unhappy. And that word is equal to divorce. Unhappy equals divorce when you're married. So people don't use it, but that's the word that needs to be used in marriage to get to dating again.
Fixing it.
I'm unhappy. And so in my relationship, my husband said, it's boring. Kind of my thing was like, I want to date. Like the lady in the letter, I want to date. So we was like, we're unhappy. So what can we do about it? So the solution was, after we said, I'm unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's making us unhappy? Well, we getting complacent. We feeling old. We only 28, we 30, we got 2 kids. So now me and my husband got date night.
We feeling old.
Yeah, we feeling old. We getting off of work. We coming back home. I'm ironing clothes, doing dishes, and everybody feel like the whole world moving, and we just like,
I'm stuck there.
Baby, you want me to put your food in the microwave? No. So we came up with date night.
Ah, wonderful.
I love
date night. So
It's
you
tomorrow.
feel like it's very.
I'm so excited.
You excited? That's what's up. Look at her smile. I love it.
My date night.
I love that. I love that. So for you, you feel like it's very important because she said, I want to date. I want to ask my husband for my boyfriend back. And I think what she means by that is just doing the things that he did to get her, having the fun, going on the dates. But for you, you feel like that's necessary.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I don't care what's going on. I clear my whole schedule for Fridays. During the pandemic, there was nothing open anymore, so we wasn't having like date night. But I was like, no, date night. He get my full undivided attention. And you know,
I love that.
Prior to the pandemic, we was going out together, like we was going to the movies, and we go. It's just, girl, I can't wait till tomorrow. I don't know what but I really be excited for a date night, and we never had a specific date night. Like, and I think couples need to do that. They need to take a specific time that is directed towards creating that energy for them, even if they're not going nowhere.
I like that. You're not the first married woman that I've heard to say that, and I think that must be ringing some true then. And even for folks that aren't married but in, you know, long-term committed relationships, if you're moving towards marriage, or maybe marriage isn't even your thing, you know, a lot of people don't even want to get married these days, which there's nothing wrong with that. But even in your long-term, you know, committed relationships, it's good to still practice the same things that you were doing when the relationship started. I think that's amazing advice.
Absolutely.
So then my next question to you is, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he told me a lot of men suffer from the too much syndrome. And what he explained to me, what that means is sometimes women want too much attention. Sometimes women want too much conversation. Mm-hmm. Sometimes women want too much affection. So for you, as being married for 7 years, how do you feel about this too much syndrome? Do you think that that's a real thing? Like, because I know you were just saying sometimes your husband may think you talk more than, you know, he would like. He's trying to sleep and you still want to talk. But in regards to other, I don't know if you're like a real affectionate person or anything mm-hmm. like that, but this whole too much syndrome, do you think that's a real thing? Is that something that guys don't like? Or
I do think it's a real thing.
Okay.
And I think a lot of relationships suffer because of it. Because I think people have an idea. Marriage is a little different because, you know, I'm more biblical spiritual, so we are as one. But the thing with the too much, even in marriage, is you still have to understand that people are individuals. Mm-hmm. And when you cross the boundary of thinking your relationship negates that, mm-hmm. that causes problems. Mm. And if somebody is saying like, I love you and I love cuddling, but something is too much, what's wrong with dialing back?
Okay.
And just hearing them. You know, you can even voice your, like, you know what, I'm affectionate. And then y'all find the middle ground. Okay. When we out with homeboys and double dating, like you can go with the girls and you have conversation, and you have to respect that and understand where they come from. Now, if they coming from a place like every time in public, you don't want to be on me, then I'm feeling like, you know, but you should know who you with and how they feel. But if somebody is telling you that, you know, you may be suffocating them a little bit, I think in all relationships, you should respect whatever somebody is telling you, whether you agree with it or not. Garbage in, garbage out.
Because I saw someone, and not even someone, but I saw a post one time that was saying, like, you'll never be too much for the right person or something like that. And I think I would have to disagree with that because there are differences of personalities, you know. Yeah. I'm a very affectionate person. I can be over the top sometimes because I just like that. But I feel like, you know, I could have the right person and they just not be an affectionate person. Right. So for me, even what I think is a little bit of affection could be too much for them.
Somebody.
So that's really good. You know, that communication definitely has to happen and finding, you know, compromise.
Yeah, it's just
I
like
love my C words.
Yeah. just like jobs.
Mhm.
People are passionate about the careers they in, but you even hear actors who make millions and millions of dollars who love the field and they get tired. Like people get tired of certain things and they kind of want to draw back from that. So, you know, they don't mean that they don't love you because they're
Right.
drawn back. And even though they love a career or they love something doesn't mean they don't get tired of it and want a break.
So I definitely appreciate that little spiel as far as like a way to, you know, get back to dating again in a relationship. Something else I want to touch on because of course, you know, when you guys write me your letters, before I bring it to my show, I normally contact you to kind of have a little bit of dialogue about what exactly you're trying to, you know, get from having this letter on the show. What are you trying to learn? And in talking to her, she kind of brought up, I was like, well, I'm going to have one of my friends come on. She's actually married. And she's like, oh, great. I would love to get another married woman's perspective. When it comes to too much sex. Now, for her, she found herself being unhappy, scared to say so because she didn't want to offend her husband or, you know, make more friction in the marriage. So whenever she would propose spicing things up or spending more time, he would equate that to having sex. And so it became for her too much. And as a wife, do you feel like you have to always have sex when your husband's trying to have sex? Like, is there such thing as too much? Like, what's too much sex? Is that a real thing?
It can be. It can be. But that goes back again to communication. Like we cannot be in relationships and be afraid to say what doesn't work for us. And he can't be afraid to say what doesn't work for him either. So if we're talking about sex, I always say that's the big conversation in relationships. Money and sex are the top things. You can't be afraid to talk about either of those things because those things are things that can cause grounds for divorce.
Oh yeah.
Sex and money. So I believe that it's about, again, communicating, knowing each other's love language, and saying that, like, hey, I be want to have fun, but it seems like we just always having sex, and that's not my idea of fun. I don't want to hunch tonight. You know, you saying that,
right?
And then one or two things happen. You'll find one or two things about your spouse. Either you're gonna respect it, and y'all gonna have dialogue about it, or you're gonna find out that he just, okay, what you say? The pastor say that, and then now you find out that it's another problem, and so you have to address it. But you never know unless you have those conversations,
right?
So yeah.
Someone in the comments said, I feel some women will make themselves busy because they think that's what they need to do as far as not having time around the house. As a wife, do you feel like it's like, what are the roles like in your house as far as busy and not? Because I know both of you guys work. So is it gender roles as far as like who's cooking, who's cleaning, who's making sure the kids are good, who's getting things prepared for the next day? Like, what does that kind of look like in your household?
Well, I'm here 12 hours a day, so that explains that. That explains that. But I think you can get lost. Either of them can get lost, myself included. The guy can get lost and the woman can get lost in, I don't believe there's gender roles, but I think there should be balance, and both people should be able to acknowledge when things aren't being balanced. So I'm gonna be transparent and say, like right now, my business, I'm a workaholic. Like I want to be here, I want to see it, but I'm noticing, like you just ate out for the last 2 weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you know, he hasn't said nothing, but those are things that, again, knowing people love language, knowing, do they like when you cook? Do they appreciate home cooked meals? And if not, are you going to put forth an effort to make those changes to make that other people have? So I don't think there's like gender roles. I think it's being aware of where your relationship stands and who does what. So it's obvious that if this man is working all day, you might want to cook every now and then, Elena. Or, you know, if the wife is at work and busting her butt and taking care of the kids, getting them from school, you may want to throw a load of laundry so that it balances out. So I think there are roles that people assume, but we should all in a relationship be able to look at the balance and be aware of where your current situation is and have the means to change it if it's off balance, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it does. So kind of also get into a place where you're able to check yourself then.
Yeah. Absolutely.
People have a real big problem doing that.
Yeah. I have no problem shaking myself.
Okay.
I probably do it too much. But that is the basis of relationships, being able to look at your inner self and deal with who you are as a person and how you go about and treat yourself. Are you balancing yourself? And usually who you are to you will spill out into your relationship.
So someone just said, and I kind of want you to expound a little bit, spontaneity, and what about an unexpected or unplanned date night? So you know how you were saying how you should pick a day and that be all day. What about some random, just, do you think that is spontaneousness is necessary for relationships to thrive?
I do, but also know that you don't put a boundary on, because like, okay, we have date nights on Fridays, but sometimes I don't know where we're going, I don't know what we're doing, or something happens, on the way to the date night or after,
Okay.
I feel
you.
You just have to, if that's you, if you respond, then you make that happen. If you see that he's not really initiating that spontaneity, if you're the spontaneous one, why are you playing the game or something? Be spontaneous.
Make it happen.
Make it happen, Captain.
So speaking of spontaneity and just making something happen, how do you as a married woman feel about bringing toys and things into your love life? Like, is that a no? Are you cool with it? Is it something, and I don't want you to have to.
I love it.
Okay.
I like toys.
Okay.
That's that. It's just interesting, especially I've known my husband for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta play. But I don't think, men are a little bit more, they don't, they a little macho.
They are.
Like, I ain't doing, I don't, and I'm not talking about like doing stuff, for men, but they be like, I don't want you, I don't want no cream and stuff on me, and
I want to pose a question to my listeners, guys, in the comments on Facebook Live and YouTube. How do you guys feel about toys? I've had this conversation with people, both single and in relationships, and the majority of men are just kind of like, they kind of feel like, no, like if she does it on her own is one thing, but to have it in the midst of like the relationship with them is not a good thing. Are you guys feeling like it's an attack on your manhood, or like, what's the deal behind that? So I'm gonna let y'all ponder on that. Somebody said yay for toys.
I know that's
he's
right.
all for it.
I know that's
but
right.
Okay, that's funny.
Jack and Jill's ecstasy, better hit them up. Tell them I sent you.
You're silly. So I kind of want to move into a little bit. So you wrote a book actually kind of along the lines of this.
I did.
And I did get a chance to read it, even as a single person, and I got a lot of good information out of it. It actually caused me to open dialogue with, some interested parties about some stuff that I read in there. And I want you to kind of, give us a little bit of information about this book, if you would.
I will. So let me first show it to y'all, because I think it's a pretty book. So see, y'all, it's so pretty. And so the book is called Date, Do Always, The Everlasting. And it's 5 rules to dating, but rules is crossed out. So the idea behind do always the everlasting, as long as you keep that mindset, doing always the everlasting, that is the key to a relationship. So doing whatever is necessary in your relationship so that it lasts. And I found that this book is more an inward outward type of book. We're going to look at what we're doing inwardly. A quick point that I'll talk about in the book that I made. I used to be real angry with my husband. Then it was my boyfriend, but I used to be like real angry. Like, I think people have ideas for relationship. Like, we got all these ideas, how they're supposed to be, what they look like. We all have this idea of marriage. Like, oh, marriage is going to be this, and I'm going to be cooking and clean.
Unrealistic expectations.
It's unrealistic. And so we have all these ideas. And especially for women, we have been planning our marriage. I got married on the Boys and Girls Club playground. Like, I just wanted to be a wife.
Right.
My grandma wanted to be a wife. And so we just have ideas as women that we want to be married, and we have an idea of how marriage should be. And so we put that on as a cake. And then so one of the points that I made was my husband used to go with his friends like freely, just get up and go, be playing basketball, he on the game, people over. And I'm like, when you coming home? Why you not doing this? Why you do? And it wasn't even, and then finally, and he wasn't changing and he wasn't doing nothing wrong, but I used to be so upset like that he could just get up and go.
He was having fun.
That he was right. Like, I got to be here with the kids, cooking and cleaning.
Oh my God,
and
so
then
funny.
one day I was like, I have this idea that being with a man means no friends, means cleaning up, meaning I got to be in the house at 8:00. And looking at him, he wasn't, coming in late or disrespecting me, but I just had this idea of how a relationship, and I was suffering from it.
Right.
So I had to go back and say, Elena, get some friends.
Yeah.
He don't know that you want to go out at 3:00. You ain't said nothing. You just, so I'm arguing with him. You didn't even ask me. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't got nobody to go nowhere with.
Just mad for no reason.
So I had to find friends to hang out with. I had to find things that I enjoyed doing. And then ultimately I started to busy myself with myself. And then I can be like, hey, babe, I'm going with a couple girls at 3:00. And then he just was like, all right, cool. I'm going to just stay here and play the game with Greg. Right. Like, all these years, I've been upset. And I just needed to find me something to do.
Right.
So just being able to look at yourself and say, what can you do to fix yourself that could potentially change the situation before you ask somebody to give you something that you can't even give to yourself?
Right.
So
that's a really good point. You always see guys joking about that. And I really used to think, like, is that a real thing? But like, women really do just be mad when they see men having fun. And a lot of times it's because they're not having fun.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have fun. Like,
yeah, my husband wanted to go to Orlando one day, and I ain't have nothing to do that weekend. Oh, I was so mad. I ain't have a screwdriver. I wanted to keep his car. Girl,
so he wouldn't go.
Yeah, and he still went. And girl, he in Orlando, and I'm at home. I'm like, calling him 1,000 times. You so stupid. You so stupid. I can't believe you really, really went. Girl, the man was gonna come back in the morning, and I just was so mad for no reason. And it's just because I didn't know me, and I was looking for him to make me happy and do stuff, and that's just not how that worked. Now I'd be like, so what?
Like, where your friends
at?
So as a married woman, you think it's very important for you guys to have your own friends and do your own thing from time to time.
Yeah. It's essential. It's very, very important. Let him do him, you do you.
I think a lot of women have that false mindset that once you become in a relationship or you get married, that you are supposed to be like all about your husband, all about your kids, all about your relationship. Where does that even come from, though? Like, why are people? And I used to feel like I wasn't ready to be married because I didn't subscribe to that mindset. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to travel. I love my girls' trips. I love to go hang out with my girls nights. Like, those things are very, very important to me. And I felt like, well, maybe you're not ready to be settled down because you still like to hang out with your friends. Right. But that's not true. Right. I could be ready to settle down and still want to hang out with my friends.
I think that go again with communication, knowing who you with. Like, if you got a man that's controlling, then that's going to be a problem. If you the opposite type person, that's might not who you need to marry anyways. But just knowing who y'all are. And then, I just, like you said, you just have those ideas that you ain't supposed to party hardy. And I mean, it's common sense to know you ain't supposed to come in at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you've been partying with your friends for 4 days in a row, you might need to stay home next week. That kind of stuff. Right. So common sense.
I can say, in my last real and long-term relationship, that's one thing that I definitely appreciated about that situation was he was very understanding of me wanting to hang out and do my thing with my friends. Like, I'd be like, oh, I'm about to go on this trip. Oh, I'm about to go. He'd be like, all right, I'll see you when you get back. Like, that was never an issue or never was an argument. So I think that too, again, comes with knowing your partner. Kind of helped me to be okay with the mindset. Like, it's okay for me to get gone. He gonna get gone sometimes. I'm gonna get gone sometimes. We coming back home. It's okay. Right. Ladies, get gone. It's okay. Let him get gone. It's okay.
Right. Although I think we're about to break this rule,
Mm.
but we don't do like far trips. Like you're
Away
not
from
going
each
to
other?
Vegas with your boys. I'm not going to Vegas with my
Oh.
girls for a
Now, was
weekend.
that an
Like,
understanding that you guys just kind of came up with together?
no,
or-
it's just been a rule, and then it came up that he wanted to go to Vegas, and you know I want to do some stuff with y'all, and it was like we never discussed it, and so it came about, and we was like 15 years. Yeah, 15 years we've never been away from each other like one night.
Interesting.
So like
Not even like a spend the night?
No. Well, I stayed night with my mom, but it's only been one night. Like I've never been away from my husband longer than one night. So to go to Vegas with my girls or him go somewhere, like I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know how that feels. And then it's also scary, like although you trust people in a relationship, it's also scary, like what if you like that? You know, like once you get a taste of something, like what if you like certain things that you get a taste, like, so I think people that's been together for a long time, like, so
that's an interesting concept. That's a very interesting concept. I guess I never thought about it that way. That can definitely be a fear or insecurity, like, dang, he might like me being gone, or I might like being gone.
Right. So, and it's not, and it has nothing to do with them, but it's like now that y'all both undid it and it's okay and you enjoyed yourself, so it's like once a month I'm going with the girls, and you do stuff like that too much, then that has potential to cause rift in your relationship. So we like, do we really want to try it? I don't know.
That's why I'm coming in moving like that, because I need you to just already know I'm gonna be taking these girls trips, so you just got to be used to me being gone from time to time.
Right.
And it's okay. I'm coming home. I'm coming back. That's funny. But that's what's up. I kind of want to ask you a question, and it really has nothing to do with this letter or this conversation. What kind, I guess. But for you, how do you think living together, like in the early stages of your relationship, kind of dictate how you guys sustain after? Or do you think it doesn't have anything to do with one or the other?
Okay, so here's where relationships, when people ask me questions about relationships, it gets jumbled, because everything with my husband is first. So we grow into everything. So it's not like, oh, well, I got to get used to him. Like we were kids, like we were 16 years old living together. And so everything that we do.
You got married at 16?
No, we've been together. Like we got our first apartment at 17. So we've been living together since 17. We don't know what we like or what, you know, who dirty and who not dirty. Our mom was just cleaning our room. Right. So we adapted to who we were and who we were coming into as adults. So it's really hard for me to answer those kind of questions because everything.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
And I want to ask this question, and I'm sure you've heard it before, because that's just like anybody. I'm always fascinated for people who like fall in love with their high school sweethearts, and that just be who they marry.
Right.
And then that's it. So it's
right.
That's all your experience in life is with this one person. Have you ever had the mindset or had this conversation with your husband about like what it would be like that y'all missed out, or like
all the time?
Okay.
And it's not, we never say like we missed out on anything, but we all, like, him and I had very like deep rooted lives that we very past that if we were to take, we would be totally different people. Like I had like scholarships, so I was probably gonna go and like be a lawyer or a doctor or something and go to school. I graduated early and I was like real, you know, and I'm still real, but I have a family, so it slowed down. So, and then he had scholarships to schools for football. So we'd be like, oh, dang, D, if I would have let you go, not let you go, but if you would have went to college, like, you know, I might have been a housewife, you know, a LeBron James or something. So we have those type of conversations, like,
but still like each other though.
Yeah. But it's never a thing. I probably would have been somebody better than who I am, or we just always say like, we feel like we were meant to be together, so we feel like we were gonna come back anyway. But we always say, I wonder if I would have been like, babe, go to school, or he would have been like, babe, go to school. And when we met up and we were well established and had money and we wouldn't be on the come up now. So that's the type of questions.
Do you ever feel like you held him back then, or like?
I have wrestled with that. I have wrestled with that, like, dang, like, um, maybe I should have been more vocal. Like, he could have went to school, and he just loved me so much. He didn't, he turned down college. And so I'm like, dang, like I should have pushed it. Like, why wasn't I pushed it? But it was because I was gonna miss him. Like, and it wasn't, I didn't sabotage him or influence his decision when he wanted to go to school. But I also did say, like, you got a whole scholarship, go to school. So I wasn't vocal. And then so, yeah.
Very, very interesting. That's
But I also think that things happen how they happen. And I mean, our life not that, and it took us longer, but we're there.
Right.
And so I'm cool with that. Got 2 beautiful girls out of it. And
I am definitely a firm believer that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen. Because you have to learn certain lessons, and you have to go through certain things to kind of become who you're supposed to be at the end. So true. When we think about, shoulda, coulda, woulda, it's kind of like, well, you didn't because you wasn't supposed to.
Right. We would have. I might have been thought and tried, and maybe we would have
maybe
been right. That's not how
it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So again, that is Date Do Always the Everlasting.
Guys, get it? It's really good. Really quick, short read, but real informative.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell Nate to say any of that, but it's a really quick book. You can read it in 30 minutes and get a wealth of knowledge in relationships. And it's really more of the inward outward type book. So
you got like questions and little
journals.
I really enjoyed that book. Actually, it made me stop and kind of like look at myself. And even for single people, you don't have to be married or in a relationship to get stuff from this book, because it kind of makes you think about your ideas behind even dating and being with someone. Is like, okay, what do I do? How do I think about this and that and the third? And kind of challenges your thoughts about what you thought about yourself when it comes to dating and whatnot. So where can people find this book?
So you guys can find this book on Amazon, or if you get it from me, I will give you guys a $2 discount if you guys get it from me. Yeah.
So if you're interested, make sure you drop a comment or shoot me a message, and I will definitely get your information over to Miss Olena so she can get that going for you. Before I let you go, and before we wrap up here with the whole dating and being married, I want you to kind of talk about 5 things that you have learned through marriage, and then 5 things that you love about being married. So 5 things that you've learned, whether it is about yourself or being a mom or being, actually being in marriage, and then 5 things that you just absolutely love about being married.
Okay. So the first thing that I learned was relationships and love is absolutely sacrificial. If you do not want to sacrifice anything, give up nothing, relationships are not for you.
Can't be selfish.
The whole thing, and I don't mean that as in like, you lose yourself, but getting to know yourself so well that you are understanding that life is not about you, period. Okay. And being who you need to be so that you can be a better person for the other person, because y'all supposed to complement each other. I also learned that life is better with somebody. I also learned that that it's better to give than to receive. That's a big one. And when you do, it's reciprocated well in your relationship. I also learned to love myself through being in a relationship. I think a relationship, when you're single, you kind of, well, I don't know, I ain't never really been single, but before, like, but even in my selfish earlier days with being in a relationship, like I just was, selfish. And so, and then 5, what did I learn? Cost to be the boss in a relationship. And And I mean that literal, like, it just, to have something great, like, it costs. And I know I said sacrifice, but when I say cost, like, it costs you time, it costs you money, it costs you effort. So, and then what I love about being married, I love marriage.
I do. Give me some hope, girl. Give me some hope. I need 5 things.
Like just the thought, like I'm about to leave here, and like I know my husband worked all day, and the first thing he usually say, and we built to this point, so this is 14 years of building, but knowing that we built to this, like I can't wait to get home and he say, "How was your day? Aww. What did you do?" And usually he be like at the end of the day. And then another thing I like is that before he go to bed, he always say, "I'm doing this for you, and I'm going to bed." And so he go to bed. So his sacrifice. So I just love having another person, like when you get home, be able to build you up in that way. That's the opposite of sex. Because, females, we can be, but for a man to recognize that it's hard being a woman and build you up, I love that. I love being loved.
That's dope.
And then 4, I love the kids. I love the family dynamic. We practice eating dinner at the table, and I love that. Like we always have dinner at the table. Not always. Like sometimes we eat in the living room, but for most part, dinner time we all eat together. So I love family dynamics. And then 5, I love the build up.
I love it. I love it. One thing that I can say as a single person and a hopeless romantic, people always get on me about that, and I've had several people tell me that. Somebody told me one day that I was watching a movie and I was just so engulfed in just the love story of it, and they said, "See, that's what's wrong with you. You watch too many movies. Like, you think that love, you looking for that movie love," and it was just kind of like, well, why not? You can have that. Absolutely. If that's who you are, right? So you said some really good things there. And just as a single person anybody that's out there that's on the dating scene or trying to figure out what that look like for you or what you even really want, marriage doesn't always have to be the end goal, but if that's something that you want, I would say go for it. Set that as your expectation. Be realistic in what you're expecting, but know your partner, know yourself, know what you want, and you don't have to change that or shift or settle just because people are telling you that hopeless romantics won't make it in our generation. I think there's a lot of us out there still hoping for and still wanting, love to love and love to be loved. So don't let that go. You'll find someone who is just as much into wanting to love you as you are wanting to love them. It's there. And just being able to have that dialogue and, finding out what that means for you and that other person. Very, very important. Absolutely. Very, very important. What was that? Okay. But just a quick little recap real quick before we get out of here because we've got like 4 minutes. So the lady in the letter was basically talking about feeling lonely in her marriage and wanting to know if it was okay to ask her husband if they could date again. And we had Miss Elena here to kind of talk about her own personal experience in her marriage. She talked about her book and she said, yes, girl, tell your husband you want to date. It's okay. Having that open communication and not being afraid to say, I'm not happy. This is how I think we can fix it. It doesn't have to mean divorce. It doesn't have to be this end all be all, but you have to have that dialogue. You have to be willing to come to a place of compromise and understanding. We got a little bit of feedback from the listeners to say that using sex toys to spice up things is okay. Like, go for it. Do something different. Spontaneous is good, but also having like planned date nights and things of that such are good as well. We did talk too a little bit about, we didn't really get into the whole dynamic of being parents as well as being married, but I understand that could probably be a whole nother conversation on its own.
Yes, and can I just say something that, just to touch on that, so maybe you can pick it back up later? Issue it's more of an issue. Parenting styles for
Mm.
the husband and the wife are way different. I coddle my children and my husband, so that can be, and that goes up there on the list of sex and money. Like we can not so much anymore, but we can get into big arguments. Don't talk to my babies like that. Leave them alone. Like, you know, and then
So those conversations is gonna be what's needed to do throughout. Somebody said, "Bro, the kids make it hard to have sex."
Oh my God, he be like, "Now you're up." Yeah, be blocking, bro.
That is funny. So maybe I will have that dialogue on another show as far as like relationships plus kids.
Yeah,
that's a whole different, different situation. That's funny. But again, so then Miss Lana did talk to you guys a little bit about her book date. She told you where you can get it from. Again, hit me up and let me know if you want me to link you with her, because she is willing to give you guys $2 off. $2 go a long way, y'all. $2 off to get her book if you get it directly from her, but then you can also order it online if you want to take it that way. So I think that's it. We'll go ahead and end this up. Okay. Amazing conversation. Thank you for having that dialogue with me. Thanks for sharing with us your book and your insight and your personal experiences. I definitely want to take this time to say, make sure you guys go ahead to my YouTube channel, As Told by Nate. Hit that subscribe button if you have not. Stay up to date with all that is As Told by Nate, as well as other things that I have going on with Seasons of Life Therapy. I'm sorry. If you want to get a copy of my book, hit me up. Let me know. I'll let you know how to do that as well. Dreamer is for sale. And make sure that you guys are right back here next week for a very special conversation on As Told by Nate. A lot of people have been hitting me up about the protesting and things that are going on, wanting to get my opinion and my thoughts on police brutality, as well as just the things that are happening in the world. And I definitely want you guys to know I'm not ignoring it. I am not turning a blind eye. I am choosing my approach wisely. I'm processing it. And sometimes I do have to take a step back and disconnect from everything that's going on, because it's a lot. So I do want to, encourage you guys to take a step back as well if you need to. Check on your family, check on your friends, because
so thank you.
It is heavy, guys. It's really heavy. But I will be diving into that a lot of it next week. So I would love for you guys to make sure you're right back here next Thursday, 8 p.m. for another conversation on As Told by Nate, where we will be dissecting a little bit of this police brutality, the protesting, politics, and we're going to have a little bit of village talk, y'all. We're going to really talk about what, when, where needs to happen to kind of make things change. Let's get this ball rolling. So I'm giving you what you're asking for. We're going to talk about it. I just needed a minute. So that's my time. And I will see you guys next week. Grab your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend, log in. Let's talk about it. All right. Bye, Nate.